Hello to all my friends out there. Lunchtime. So what I want to do is come up with some crazy cheap meals. So for a while there was no top ramen. So this is bad. Now the price of Vienna sausages is going up. So what can we do? Well, we're going to have to get bacon-ins now while we can. So I want to make a tasty top ramen meal, and if you guys have good top ramen meals, can you please let us know? Because if you can stockpile top ramen, chances are you could get by. Say if you had to get by a couple days before payday. So let's see, we have some boiling water, 2 cups, and I have some chicken top ramen. And believe it or not, out here we had some top ramen. A shortage. Then there was reports that there were 7 COVID cases. Now we have all kinds. So I'm giving this matter some thought. And I think what I'm going to do, really, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pile my shopping cart full of it now before the price goes up. Because if you wait around until the price, so this was what I found during the shortage. I found some of these. And I couldn't find chicken. And then it got to the point where I could find beef. So, I didn't have very much chicken top ramen. And today I noticed they had chicken. And I thought, well, maybe, the smart thing might be to stockpile some chicken top ramen now. While we can still get it for 20 cents per package, while it's cheap. So, okay, I want to stretch my top ramen. I want to get recipes now so that if things start, inflating. So I'm gonna make like a top ramen teriyaki rice bowl. So I think I mentioned to you guys that I had for a while there was no rice, there was no beans. I'm like, are you kidding? They go, don't worry, we're getting more. Really? Well, what happens if you don't get more? Then what would happen? No, well, then you won't have any. That's what will happen. Okay, so I have 1 egg and about a tablespoon of water. And I want to beat this good. To make like an egg drop soup. You want to beat it until it's frothy. You can't really overbeat it. So this in itself is pretty nutritious right here. And so, if I put my chives back in the bags because I keep everything, so some chives would have been good. But it's too much of a hassle for me to find it. Okay, so I'm going to cook that for a while. Now, look at this cuteness. I pretty much had to buy these 99-cent only. I think that's the first thing I bought since the pandemic. Except food. I bought two jams because in a pinch, if you can make bread and you have jam, that can count as your bread and your fruit. Okay, so now I could add Mexican hot sauce, but if you have some teriyaki sauce, I think I bought it at Dollar Tree. Not too much, just a little bit. You can always add more. Don't go crazy. I think about a tablespoon would be good. Bacon is very yummy with teriyaki sauce. See my eggs in there? Yummy, yummy. Okay, so now I want to talk to you guys while that's cooking for a minute. I want to talk to you guys about bacon ends. These are my bacon ends in the freezer, and what I did is I packed them really loose so I can fry some. Off. If you're not a bacon eater, then maybe try, or a sausage eater, maybe try turkey, because it's really going to help you. So, okay, so now, one of the things you don't want to run out of is good fat, you know, and so I save everything. So I have some, this is an old shortening container, and I have a little piece of butter and some kind of fat. But with my bacon ends, this is really fat, so I just want to put this, you know, I'll cut these pieces off, and I'll keep them in there to use them like lard. And then in my freezer, here is some pieces of bacon and various meat fats. So I have some rice, and I have some top ramen with teriyaki sauce, and I have some bacon, so I can get by. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys something. Okay, here is my bread starter. This is really easy to do. So, I had this, you know, I was doing the bread starter thing, and that starter is ready to go. Now, if I wanted to make it tomorrow morning, I would just slip it in the refrigerator. And in there is some potatoes, so what I'll do is I will grind this in the blender, and I will just keep my potato in there. So this was 2 cups wheat flour, could be white, and a half a tablespoon of bread yeast. So that's really going to stretch your, you want to make sure you can always have bread so you can have sandwiches. So now let me show you. Oh, I can't believe this. This is like very important. Okay. Oh, it's over here. Okay. So what I do is I combined 2 cups flour and 1/2 tablespoon yeast, or 1½ teaspoons, but you could use 2 teaspoons if you have it, or you could use half a package. That would probably work. And then you have 1/4 cup of this, 2 teaspoons sugar, 1/2 cup warm water, and 1 small potato. And what you're going to do now that this is activated, and I put a warm pan in the oven of boiling water, and I covered it to activate my yeast faster. And then when I make my rolls, I'll do the same thing. I'll activate them in the oven, because when you're using the starter with less yeast, it takes a while. So then I will go in here with my old tried and true. Now these are Mormon recipes, and what they do, this one just makes like a pretty small loaf. So I will make half a batch, because I just want some rolls. I'll use about a little more than a 1/2 cup warm water, and then I'll put a 1/2 tablespoon of sugar, and then this will be my yeast. And then I will slip it in the oven, and I will let it reactivate. And then I will add my flour, and I'll knead it, and then I will you know, activate my rolls with the warm water that's creating a warm environment, and I'll just rise it one time, and then tonight I will have rolls. So that's what I wanted to say on that. Okay. The best way to prepare for whatever is coming is to stockpile food, because that way you're not going to starve. Okay, so now I want to give you guys, I know if you've been following me, but if you didn't write this down, you guys, write this in your notebook. Now you can buy the flour, the dry beans, the rice, and the sugar in, and the pork. You can buy bacon, turkey bacon at Dollar Tree. So flour, dry beans, rice, sugar for $5. They have $1 coffee as well. That could get you going for $6, $6 or $7. And then let me give you this one. And this is the direction we will want to move in to prepare for anything like some kind of famine. Oh, I want to make mention of something in 1 minute. Just take a screenshot. Go to Bear Pantry because today she made ginger snaps. That was a great video. Also, Homestead Tessie Mobile Home Living had a great video, and it was gardening. And you don't have to have a farm. You can use her methods in your apartment, or anywhere you are, and just try to grow a little food. You can use the food out of your the food you eat. Okay, so now they are saying what is going to happen, and I hope it doesn't, but it could. The poor people are going to spend all of their stimulus. Well, for one thing, you might really need your stimulus, after all these weeks. But if you did spend all your stimulus, the good news is you might be getting another one. So that's good. There's another bad possibility. See this? All your tax returns, and they know damn well we were getting tax returns. Now, I am not spending my stimulus check unless I absolutely can't help it, or my tax return. Forget it. Okay, so you might be saying, well, I barely have enough money. How am I supposed to stockpile? This is good, you guys. The main thing is if you stockpile this up and food starts getting high, you can survive. Yummy. Now, if you can wait until the end of the month and the beginning of the next month, then you could buy 2 months worth of food. But if you can't do that, if you can go through your cupboards and you can come up with nearly 1 week food, and you can wait until the beginning of the next week and buy 2 weeks food, that is really going to help you. Then when you get your 2 week food, you can cycle it, because now you have 2 weeks of food, and at the 1 week mark, you can wait. So your 2 weeks food, you're into the 1 week, and then you eat the second half, and you should have 2 weeks. So you're always staggering your buying, so as to create more food. Like, if you wait until the end of the week and the beginning of the next week and you have 2 weeks food, or even 1 day. If you can go 1 day and then the next day you buy 2 portions of food that you need, and you buy really cheap food for a while, not too miserable, because then you're destroying your life right now. It's like the debt. You're borrowing against the you're sacrificing right now for the future, and the future might be more crappy than right now. So I wanted to say that. Okay, so what are we doing? One, we're preparing for the second wave. And so what might happen is, come winter time, a second wave of this corona, which is really a viral pneumonia, might hit us. Now, the reason there's such a problem in New York, one of them, is it's freezing cold there, and people take the, subway. So you're cooped up with other people who have the coronavirus that's very dangerous. And the masks don't always work. It depends how sick the person is and how close you are. So we want to try to prevent that. And we want to know that the second wave is coming. It's coming soon, probably in November. That's the problem with China and Korea. Those places are freezing. Okay, no. The grand solar minimum. If we get a really cold winter, that could reduce, and there's another bad thing, heavy rains. And so what you want to do is you want to be prepared so that if where you are might flood, then you might have to evacuate. Now, if you flooded before, or if it's snowing very, very heavy north and that snow melts, you could be hit with floods. So you want to prepare for that. So the grand solar minimum is 11 years. This is year 2, and most likely it's going to cause us all kinds of mischief. Hopefully not, but we never know. Okay, depression. The depression came on 3 years after the Spanish flu. But we can't say that's going to happen in this case because, like in the business I was in, I could see a decline for some time. I had a problem staying employed because they were always, unstable. So a depression, we could be heading for a depression. Well, what would be bad? Well, what would be bad is hyperinflation. And so how are we supposed to pay for this stimulus? Well, things will cost more, making it hard for people just to buy poor people just to buy food. So that's why you want to stockpile. You want to go to the food pantries. You want to go to the churches now, even though you might have a stimulus, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. We know we're in a grand solar minimum. That's what we know. I think this had partly to do with the coronavirus and the swines dying in China because it was cold. Okay, so now back to the depression. What might happen is hyperinflation to pay for the stimulus. The government is giving us this money. Where does the government get this money? Well, the government's going to get this money from the taxpayers. So we want to be smart and we want to say to ourselves, okay, what have I learned? Okay, we want to try to get oatmeal. They have the big bags at Smart and Fine over $14. Shortening. Crisco has gone up to like $5 or $6, but you can still get the 3 tubs if you're there when they have it, the 3-pound tubs. Canned milk, meat. Okay, during the Depression, we had a shortage of meat and cheese. And then try to stockpile mayonnaise, mustard, dry onion, dry celery, pickles, barbecue sauce, the big bottles of lime and jam, canned meat like tuna, chicken, sardines, clams. That clam chowder I made was good. It was just like potato soup, and I put clams. Salmon at 99 cents only. I can get the big cans for $2.99. And then I packed my freezer full of chicken, hamburger, and bacon ends. But my hamburger was tainted with soy. For cheap meat, hot dogs, lunch meat, chorizo, and then ingredients to make bread. Okay, there was a shortage of yeast. So I found a way to use less yeast to conserve my yeast. But you can also use soda and baking powder and salt. And then this is going to be an evolving list. Toilet paper. I went today and, the big ones of toilet paper gone. Dish soap, that was gone one time. Laundry detergent, also dish detergent. Comet and bleach. Also looking for masks and gloves. Okay. Canned vegetables, canned fruit, canned tomatoes, canned milk, powdered milk, margarine, pack your freezer full, shortening, oil, cornmeal flour. So bear these 3 bad scenarios in mind. And you guys, this is not too shabby. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and God bless you all.